Hi, everyone, and welcome to another action-packed episode of
The Dungeon Crashers.
I'm Guy.
And I'm Zapeel. Like always, before we get started, hit that like and subscribe button, and get that bell on if you want to be notified when we post new videos. Today's build was a tricky one. Thiago Valdo requested a human variant Hexblade Warlock of Hermanius Mora, the Prince of Knowledge. His followers are anyone that seeks knowledge, and we wanted to bring that into the build as much as possible. There were a few ideas tossed around, like multi-classing Star Druid or Divination Wizard, or even a brief moment when we thought about using Knowledge Domain Cleric. In the end, we decided on the Lore Bard. It fits the concept we are going for, and Charisma is its main stat, like Warlock. We have said before, but it's been a while, we give shortened descriptions of spells, and some abilities have really long explanations, so we recommend you look them up. We try to keep our videos as short as possible. While the lore of Hexblade is that it is a specific being that the patron to warlocks, it is also a very limiting one. Other patrons like the Fiend or Undead give you an array of possible patrons to choose from, so I don't see any problem in reflavoring the Hexblade to fit a different patron. Like I said before, we're going with Variant Human. We get 2+1 ability scores we can place on 2 different abilities, 1 skill of our choice, and 1 feat of our choice. Our 2+1s, we're going to put them on Intelligence and Charisma. We took Perception for the skill, because it's always good to have, and for the feat, we wanted something that would give it a boost to an ability and give us something interesting to add to the character. We went with Observant. You get a +5 to Passive Perception and Investigation, which will also help in search of knowledge vibe that we're going for. You can read lips, and it gives a +1 to Intelligence and Wisdom of your choice, and we put it on Intelligence. For ability scores, we use the point buy system. We put an 8 on Strength because we just don't need it, a 14 on Dexterity since we'll be wearing medium armor, a 14 on Constitution, it will be boosted as we level up, a 10 on Intelligence, making it 12 from the racial bonus and the +1 from the Observant feat, 10 on Wisdom since we don't want a negative, and a 15 on Charisma, making it 16 from the racial bonus, and this will be our main casting stat and melee stat.
For the background, we started with Archaeologist. As a seeker after knowledge, we explore ancient ruins and temples looking for forgotten lore and lost artifacts. So the 2 skills we get are History and Survival. History will help us find clues to the location of what we wish to explore, and Survival will help us survive the journey to get there. The background feature is Historical Knowledge. When you enter a ruin or dungeon, you can correctly ascertain its original purpose and determine its builders, whether dwarves, elves, human, Yuan-Ti, or some other known race. In addition, you can determine the monetary value of art objects more than a century old. Since we use our charisma for attack and damage, we don't need a finesse weapon, and the versatile property won't help us since we'll be using a shield. We can take anything that isn't two-handed, so for starting equipment just for fun, let's take a war pick. Medium armor and a shield. Since you won't have the gold for half plate, get the best medium armor you can. We don't need a ranged weapon since we can use our Eldritch Blast for that. To start off this build, take Warlock. We get 2 skills, and we took Deception and Investigation. Deception will help us bluff our way out of places we might otherwise be unwelcome, and Investigation will help us find clues, whether searching for a secret compartment in a crypt or trying to find a map in a dusty library. At first level, we get our Otherworldly Patron, and we win with Hexblade. The Hexblade gets 2 spells added to the Warlock spell list, Shield and Wrathful Smite. The first ability you get is Hex Warrior. It gives you proficiency with medium armor, shields, and martial weapons. Also, whenever you finish a long rest, you can touch one weapon that you're proficient with, and that lacks the two-handed property. When you attack with that weapon, you can use your charisma modifier instead of strength or dexterity for the attack and damage. This benefit lasts until you finish a long rest. The second ability is Hexblade Curse. As a bonus action, choose one creature you can see within 30 feet of you. The target is cursed for 1 minute. The curse ends early if the target dies, you die, or you are incapacitated. Until the curse ends, you gain the following benefits. You gain a bonus to damage rolls against the cursed target equal to your proficiency bonus. Any attack roll you make against the cursed target is a critical hit on a roll of 19 or 20. And if the cursed target dies, you regain hit points equal to your Warlock level plus your Charisma modifier, minimum 1. You can't use this feature again until you finish a short or long rest. And Warlocks get Pact Magic. We have 2 cantrips known, 2 spells known, and 1 spell slot at first level. For cantrips, take Eldritch Blast. It does a d10 force damage, and once you get invocations, it can do a lot more. Also take Booming Blade. On a hit, you deal normal weapon damage to the target, and if the target willingly moves before the start of your next turn, it takes a d8 thunder damage. Eldritch Blast gets more beams, and Booming Blade does more damage as you level up. For our 2 spells known, take Arms of Hadar. It deals 2d6 necrotic damage on a failed strength save to all creatures within 10 feet of you, and they can't take a reaction until next turn. On a successful save, the creature takes half damage but suffers no other effect. Next, take the Shield spell. It's a great use of your reaction.
At second level, we'll be taking second level of Warlock. We get 2 Eldritch Invocations. Take Agonizing Blast to add your Charisma modifier to your Eldritch Blast damage, and Eldritch Sight. It allows you to cast Detect Magic at will without spending a spell slot or material components. Personally, I use Detect Magic a lot if my character has it, so being able to use it without spending a spell slot is awesome. It is also a fitting gift from your patron. We get 1 more spell known and 1 spell slot of first level. We will take Expeditious Retreat as a bonus action when you cast this spell, and then on a bonus action of each of your turns until the spell ends, you can take the dash action. Combining Expeditious Retreat and Booming Blade could lead to some pretty good damage. At third level, we'll take third level of Warlock. We get our Pact boon, and we will take Pact of the Blade. You can use your action to create a Pact weapon in your empty hand. You can choose the form of this melee weapon takes each time you create it. You are proficient with it while you wield it, and this weapon counts as magical for the purposes of overcoming resistance and immunity to non-magical attacks and damage. We can summon a variety of weapons, so if you would like a reach weapon, you could take a whip, or if you need a bludgeoning weapon, take a warhammer. Your packed weapon disappears if it is more than 5 feet away from you for 1 minute or more. It also disappears if you use this feature again, if you dismiss the weapon, no action required, or if you die. You can transform one magical weapon into your packed weapon by performing a special ritual while you hold the weapon. You perform the ritual over a course of an hour, which can be done during a short rest. You can dismiss the weapon, shunting it into an extra-dimensional space, and it appears whenever you create your packed weapon. You can't affect an artifactor's sentient weapon this way. The weapon ceases being your packed weapon if you die, if you perform the 1 hour ritual on a different weapon, or if you use the 1 hour ritual to break your bond to it. The weapon appears at your feet if it is in the extra-dimensional space if the bond breaks. From Hexblade, we get Blur and Branding Smite added to our spell list. We also get one more spell known, and it can be of second level now. Take Mind Spike. It deals 3d8 psychic damage on a failed wisdom save, and half as much on a successful one. Also important to us, it lets us know the exact location of the target, so if an enemy escapes, you can track it down, or even better, let it escape and follow it back to its lair. At 4th level, we're taking 4th level of Warlock, getting an ability boost, and we'll put it on our Charisma to make it 18. We get one cantrip known and one spell known that could be of 2nd level. For cantrip, take Sword Burst. It deals a 1d6 damage to all creatures within 5 feet of you on a failed dex save. For the spell known, take Misty Step for a bonus action 30-foot teleport spell. For 5th level, we'll be jumping to Bard for a while. At 1st level Bard, we get Bardic Inspiration. As a bonus action on your turn, choose one creature that other than yourself within 60 feet of you that can hear you. That creature gains one Bardic Inspiration dice, a d6, and once within the next 10 minutes, the creature can roll the dice and add it to the number rolled to one ability check, attack roll, or saving throw it makes. The creature can wait until it rolls the d20 before deciding to use the Bardic Inspiration dice, but must decide before the DM says whether the roll succeeds or fails. Once the Bardic Inspiration dice is rolled, it is lost. The creature can only have one Bardic Inspiration dice at a time, and you can use this feature a number of times equal to your Charisma modifier, a minimum of once, and you regain any expended uses when you finish a long rest. We also get one skill from the Bard list, and we want Performance. For spells, Bards get 2 cantrips known, 4 spells known, and 2 first-level spell slots. For cantrips, take Vicious Mockery. The target must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or take 1d4 psychic damage, and it has disadvantage on its next attack roll it makes before the end of its next turn. Next, take Message if you need to communicate with a party member that is 120 feet away. For the 4 spells known, take Cure Wounds for a 1d8 plus Charisma modifier and healing. Identify, but we will just be using this as a ritual. Silvery Barbs to make a creature re-roll a d20 and take the lower roll, and give another creature advantage on its next attack roll, saving throw, or ability check. Last is Tasha's Hideous Laughter. The target must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or fall prone, becoming incapacitated and unable to stand up during the duration. A creature with an intelligence score of 4 or less isn't affected, and at the end of each of its turns, and each time it takes damage, the target can make another wisdom saving throw. The target has advantage on the saving throw if it's triggered by damage. On a success, the spell ends.
Mm-hmm. And at 6th level, 2nd level Bard, we get Jack of all trades. You can add half your proficiency bonus rounded down to any ability check you make that doesn't already include your proficiency bonus. There's also an optional feature here, Magical Inspiration. If a creature has a Bardic Inspiration die from you and casts a spell that restores hit points or deals damage, the creature can roll that die and choose a target affected by the spell. Add the number rolled as a bonus to the hit points regained or the damage dealt. The Bardic Inspiration die is then lost. And we get one more spell known and one first level spell slot. Take Dissonant Whispers. The target must make a wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, it takes 3d6 psychic damage and must immediately use its reaction, if available, to move as far as its speeds allow away from you. The creature doesn't move into obviously dangerous ground, such as a fire or a pit. On a successful save, the target takes half as much damage and doesn't have to move away. A deafened creature automatically succeeds on this save. Since they're using their reaction to move, they can't disengage, so will provoke an attack of opportunity. Now, some DMs consider this to be forced movement, so it doesn't provoke attacks of opportunity. However, at our table and those of many people I have spoken to, forced movement only applies to things that physically force you to move, like pushing or shoving, not movement that you use an action to take. And 7th level, we'll be taking 3rd level Bard, and we get our Bard College, and we take Lore College. We get expertise in 2 skills. We want Investigation and Perception. We also get 3 skills of our choice. We want Insight, Persuasion, and Arcana. We get the ability Cutting Words. When a creature that we can see within 60 feet of us makes an attack roll, an ability check, or a damage roll, you use our reaction to expend one of our uses of Bardic Inspiration, rolling a Bardic Inspiration die, and subtracting the number rolled from the creature's roll. You can choose to use this feature after the creature makes its roll, but before the DM determines whether the attack roll or ability check succeeds or fails, or before the creature deals its damage. The creature is immune if it can't hear you or if it's immune to being charmed. For spells, we get one more spell known, 1 first level spell slot, and 2 second level spell slots. And let's take Mirror Image. This spell has a long description, so we recommend you look this up. But basically, it's no concentration, great defense. 8th level will be 4th level Bard. We get an ability boost, so let's cap our Charisma at 20. We get another cantrip known, a spell known, and 1 more second level spell slot. For the cantrip, take Mage Hand, since it could be useful, or Light, since we're human and don't have dark vision. For the spell known, take Cloud of Daggers for a great range crowd control spell.
Yeah. At 9th level, we'll be taking 5th level of Bard. Here we get Font of Inspiration, allowing us to regain all expended uses of Bardic Inspiration on a short or long rest. Our Bardic Inspiration die also increases to a D8 at this level. We get 1 more spell known and 2 3rd level spell slots. Let's take Lehman's Tiny Hut. You'll be casting this as a ritual when you camp, so you can use your 3rd level spell slots for upcasting your other spells now. At 10th level, we'll be taking 6th level of Bard. We get Counter Charm as an action. You can start a performance that lasts until the end of your next turn. During this time, you and any friendly creatures within 30 feet of you have advantage on saving throws against being frightened or charmed. A creature must be able to hear you to gain this benefit. The performance ends early if you are incapacitated or silenced, or if you voluntarily end it. From the Lore College, we get additional magical secrets. The spells must be of a level you can cast, and they count as bard spells for you, but don't count against your spells known. So let's take something big like Fireball for an AoE damaging spell dealing 8d6 fire damage, and we could also take Spirit Guardians from the Cleric list, which is powerful for a melee character, or Crusader's Mantle from the Paladin list to empower your attacks and those of your allies. For Bard spells, we get 1 more spell known and 1 3rd level spell slot. Take Mass Healing Word. You can heal up to 6 creatures you can see within 60 feet, 1d4 plus Charisma modifier. At 11th level, we'll be taking 7th level of Bard. All we get at this level is 1 more spell known and 1 4th level spell slot. Take Ralithim's Psychic Lance. The target must succeed on an intelligence saving throw. On a failed save, the target takes 76 psychic damage and is incapacitated until the start of your next turn. On a successful save, the creature takes half as much damage and isn't incapacitated. 12th level, we'll be finishing off with Bard here at 8th level, getting an ability boost, and we'll use it to bump up our Constitution to 16. We get another spell known and 1 more 4th level spell slot. Take Phantasmal Killer or Polymorph. Both would be great here.
And for 13th level, we go back to Warlock. A 5th level Warlock, we get 1 Eldritch Invocation, and we want Eyes of the Rune Keeper, another gift from our patron to help our quest for knowledge. That lets us read all writing, allowing us to understand ancient languages and cryptic hieroglyphs. From Hexblade, Blink and Elemental Weapon are added to the Warlock spell list. We get one more spell known, and it can be 3rd level. Let's take Blink from Hexblade for a great non-concentration defensive spell. 14th level will be 6th level of Warlock. From Hexblade, we get a Cursed Spectre. You can curse the soul of a person you slay, temporarily binding it into your service. When you slay a humanoid, you can cause its spirit to rise from its corpse as a spectre. When the spectre appears, it gains temporary hit points equal to half your Warlock level. Roll initiative for the spectre, which has its own turns. It obeys your verbal commands, and it gains a special bonus to attack rolls equal to your charisma modifier. The spectre remains in your service until the end of your next long rest, at which point it vanishes to the afterlife. Once you bind a spectre with this feature, you can't use the feature again until you finish a long rest. For spells, we get one more spell known of 3rd level. Let's take Vampiric Touch. Make a melee attack against a creature within your reach. On a hit, the target takes 3d6 necrotic damage, and you regain hit points equal to half the amount of necrotic damage dealt. Until the spell ends, you can make the attack again on each of your turns as an action. And 15th level is 7th level Warlock. We get one invocation, and we want Thirsting Blade. You can attack with your pact weapon twice instead of once, and whenever you take the attack action on your turn. We get one more spell known, and it can be 4th level. Take Blight. The target must make a Constitution saving throw. The target takes 8d8 necrotic damage on a failed save, or half as much damage on a successful one. The spell has no effect on undead or constructs. We get 2 spells from Hexblade, Phantasmal Killer and Staggering Smite, added to the Warlock spell list.
Yeah. At 16th level, we'll be taking 8th level of Warlock. We get an ability boost, and since we are still a little low on hit points, let's bump up that Constitution one more time to 18. We get another spell known on 4th level. Let's take Shadow of Mole. Until the spell ends, you have resistance to radiant damage. In addition, whenever a creature within 10 feet of you hits you with an attack, the shadows lash out at the creature, dealing 2d8 necrotic damage. 17th level is 9th level of Warlock, and we get one Eldritch Invocation. Take Eldritch Smite. Once per turn, when you hit a creature with your pact weapon, you can expend a Warlock spell slot and deal an extra 1d8 force damage to the target, plus another 1d8 per level of spell slot. You can knock the target prone if it is huge or smaller. We get one more spell known at 5th level. Take Teleportation Circle. It's sure to come in handy. And from Hexblade, we get Banishing Smite and Cone of Cold added to our Warlock spell list. 18th level is going to be 10th level of Warlock. From Hexblade, we get Armor of Hexes. Your Hex grows more powerful, and if the target cursed by your Hexblade curse hits you with an attack roll, you can use your reaction to roll a d6. On a 4 or higher, the attack instead misses you, regardless of its roll. For spells, we only get one cantrip known, so take Mind Sliver. The target must succeed on an intelligence saving throw or take 1d6 psychic damage and subtract 1d4 from the next saving throw it makes until the end of your next turn. 19th level will be 11th level of Warlock. We get Mystic Arcanum. Choose one 6th level spell from the Warlock spell list as this Arcanum. You can cast your Arcanum spell once without expending a spell slot. You must finish a long rest before you can do this again. For the 6th level spell, let's take Mental Prison from Xanathar's Guide to Everything. It deals 5d10 psychic damage to the target, and if they fail to save, traps them in an illusionary prison that either keeps them from trying to escape, and if they do escape, deals another 10d10 psychic damage. If your DM allows Unearthed Arcana, Psychic Crush from Unearthed Arcana 66 is a good choice as well. On a failed intelligence save, the creature takes 12d6 psychic damage and is stunned for 1 minute. It takes half as much damage and is it stunned on a successful one. The stunned target can make an intelligence saving throw at the end of each of its turns. On a successful save, the spell ends on the target. For spells, we get one more spell known, a 5th level, and we finally now have third spell slot. Take Scrying for a good divination spell.
Yep, and finally at 20th level, we take 12th level Warlock. We can take an ability boost or a feat here. We took the ability boost to cap our con at 20. But this level is pretty flexible. If you find that you have plenty of hit points, then take a feat, or give the ability boost to intelligence to make those knowledge rolls better. We got our last Eldritch Invocation, and we want Life Drinker. When you hit a creature with your pact weapon, the creature takes extra necrotic damage equal to your charisma modifier, minimum 1. Also for this build, we took the spells we would use in our game, but many aren't central to the theme of the character. If you want to play more into the Secret Knowledge Bard has a lot of divination spells available. If you want to be more of a support character, you can get a lot from Bard as well. Also, there are a great many ways you could go with this, having 2 spell lists to choose from. We have been adding a list of good magic items to our builds lately, and since people seem to enjoy it as much as we do, we're going to keep doing it. Obviously, what items you will get depends on your DM. These are just ones we think will work well for the character. We give 1 very rare or legendary item, 2 rare, and 3 uncommon items to a level 20 character. At very rare, using our first attunement, we want a Spellguard Shield. It is both simple and effective, giving us advantage on all saves versus spells. At rare, using our second attunement slot, we want Cloak of Displacement, also simple and effective, giving our enemies disadvantage on attacking us. We also want to get a good suit of armor here, taking half plate plus 2. At uncommon, using our last attunement, we want a Rod of the Pact Keeper, giving us plus 1 to the spell attack and save DC of our warlock spells. Also, Goggles of the Night will make up for our sad lack of dark vision. And lastly, in our line of work, a rope of climbing can be an invaluable asset.
Yeah, definitely on that last one. And with that, we bring this build to a close. We wanted this build to be both good at melee and spell attacks, with a little support added in, and it also to fulfill the role of being a seeker of knowledge. Thiago Valdo, we hope you liked this build and it lived up to your expectations. Our next build is a request from Project Cancelled, and they want a Rogue Pally build, so look forward to that. And until next time, cheers!